when stars are in light, the weaver, we would know.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Improving Sales Performance livecast. I'm so excited to be here. I'm super excited to have Jaleigh as our guest today. Hi, Jaleigh. We'll do introductions in just 1 second. I want to just remind everybody that this is the Improving Sales Performance livecast. And this whole series, what we've been focused on is the Impact Sales Leadership System, the people, process, planning, and performance. And our commitment is every week to just kind of unpack a section of it, kind of go through and see what are the relevant topics and how do you apply those topics? Like, how do you bring them to life in your day-to-day situation? Last week, we focused on people. And this week, we're going to continue to focus on people, really diving into recruitment and selection. And joining us today is Jaleigh Long. And again, I'll do introductions in just 1 second. I do want to remind everyone, because we are live, we do have on both LinkedIn and YouTube, we do have the ability to see what you see if you comment and if you have a question. So we invite you to comment and to ask questions. And maybe as you're watching, if you could just for practice comment on something like, how about this? Your favorite place to either recruit somebody or the best way you were ever recruited. That'd kind of be interesting to see. Like, have you ever been recruited and what was that like? Or have you ever recruited somebody and where did you get them from? We're always looking for best places to recruit, so that'd be a good thing to comment on. All right, so let's get on with some introductions. Jaleigh Long is our guest today, and I'm gonna read her bio because it's so impressive. I want everyone to hear everything that she's accomplished. And she, not only is she a client of ours, but Jaleigh's also a personal friend. And I go back a long time with Jaleigh. She's the vice president and general manager for Cox Media Group for the Atlanta and Athens radio markets. She's also an 18-year industry veteran with an in-depth knowledge of both radio and digital. Jaleigh previously was leading as director of sales one of the most notable and successful radio sales organizations in America. She was the DOS there in Atlanta since 2017. She joined CMG Atlanta Radio in 2014 as the general sales manager and was promoted up from there. Jaleigh is a graduate from the University of Southern Indiana. She started her media career in Indianapolis as an AE for Susquehanna Radio. Jaleigh then moved into leadership with South Central Media in Evansville, Indiana, where she served as GSM for 7 years for them in that market. Jaleigh is a board member of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters and serves on the advisory committee for college broadcasters. She's a graduate of the 2020 Broadcast Leadership Training Program with the National Association of Broadcasters. Her passion for the media industry, for growing and developing talent and continuous learning has been cornerstones of her success. And I'll just chime in and say this. I've witnessed that firsthand. I've seen you in action, Jaleigh, and your passion for both recruiting and selecting talent, in my opinion, is unmatched. And so I could not be happier to have you as a guest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, so we're going to dive in. I have lots of questions, and I think Shay, I think you put up there, but if anyone wants to get a hold of Jaleigh, the very best thing to do is just go to LinkedIn and search Jaleigh Long. She comes up right away, and she'd be happy to connect with you there. All right, so let's jump into some questions. We all know that the war on talent is getting tougher and tougher. There's been articles about the post-pandemic war on talent will be more significant than anything we've ever seen before. And we know that it's a 52-week job. It's not an event. It's not something where you say, oh, I have an opening, I better. I think we're all, at least those of us performing at a high level, realize that this is an ongoing thing. So what I want to know, though, is what has worked for you in holding yourself as well as your management team accountable to do this? I mean, and how do you measure it? And what is the routine? Like, what do you have in place to make sure that this happens?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because I'm probably reading lots of articles right now that there's a talent drought. And you have to be intentional. You have to schedule it. You have to make time for yourself, but you also have to make time to brainstorm with your teams. They too want to work with talent and grow, develop. Having an intentional routine to do this, whether it's in your manager meeting, whether it's yourself, you can do what in-person is important, but making sure that everybody knows the goal here too. Who are we looking for? What needs do we have today? It's different than a year ago. It's different than 6 months ago. So making sure we're also updating our needs list too, based on the current team that we have in place.
So being intentional, scheduling it on your calendar, constantly evaluating what you're looking for, what you need. Those are three of the really big principles that you guys use in some of the routines. Is there a how often do you check to see how filled the talent bank is, or how's that work?
Yeah, I would say weekly. Weekly, we are looking forward to see about our team's talent bank, and that's for all positions and roles that we're looking for. Succession planning is important. Career pathing is important. How do we start having these conversations on with employees and teammates, and even in the interviewing and selection process, not just about what the goals are today for your team, but what you might need down the road. And being open and adding new questions into the interviewing process as well, and selection process, to find out exactly where someone is today from a role that they're hired for to go on to do the next job.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie commented, and I just put it up on the screen. She said, what is on the calendar gets measured and gets done. And that's what you're saying. Like, if it's really that important, then you'll schedule for it. You'll make time to make sure it happens. And I love this idea. I think oftentimes we forget about succession planning, right? We say, well, I have really good people. Nobody's going anywhere. And so we let down our guard. And I don't think that we can right now. I think it's too important. So let me ask you another question. And you and I talked about this a little bit beforehand. So I think that this is important because it's a question I know we get asked at CSS all the time, do you have an employee referral plan or incentives in place? Is it working? Does it help? Tell me about that.
We used to have out there to line that is also they are tuned about some needs. So we really are great culture. Yeah.
So Jaleigh,
not only the best.
So we're having really tough audio issues. Are you, just make sure your Wi-Fi is connected at full strength, because it keeps, you're breaking up. So do you have a, restate what you were saying, not the whole thing, but kind of restate again. You said you used to have a referral program, but not anymore. But you were indicating, I believe what you were saying is that your best want to be around the best. And so you've created an environment where you're openly inviting them to participate in the recruitment process. More to add to that?
Yeah. So some of our best people will come to us and our teammates and say, I met someone today, and I think they would be a great fit on this team. Especially as we dig into more category focused. You know, I know somebody over here is specialized in automotive, or this person is really great with education or financial. So, you know, we are pretty intentional about listening to our team and to our best people on our team.
Yeah, I don't remember where this quote comes from. I don't. And maybe someone will, and they'll put it in the comment box or they'll email me. But somebody said 10s like to be around 10s, and 6s and 7s like to be around 4s and 5s, right? I mean, the best like to be around the best. A 10 likes to be surrounded by 10s. In fact, you surround your very best by weaker people, by not as strong a sales department, they kind of get frustrated with you. Like, who is this person that you brought in here to sell next to me, right? I mean, you've seen that firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they'll be the first ones to also say too, here's how I can help this person. And I think that's what's really great about the team that we have too, is being encouraging and being a great floor leader and being engaged with others' success, especially right now, as we're getting back into the office, and we want this to be the place where not of punishment. To be back in the office is not a bad thing right now, right? Some people are saying, oh, well, those folks that aren't performing need to be back in the office, because sales has always been hybrid.
Right.
So, you know, getting back and having those conversations, having brainstorms, that collaboration, sharing success is really important too. And we've got some of the best people that are really willing and able to share their success.
Yeah, we all know that as a sales manager, we've all said this, and a salesperson, we've felt this. If you're in the office too much, your sales manager says, why are you always in the office? You need to get out there and sell. If you're never in the office, why aren't you in the office? You need to be in the office. So it's always been hybrid, and probably always will be. Okay, next question. We sometimes say that strong selection is both art and science. I know that's a phrase that you hear around CSS all the time. It's art and science. And we know that the science part of this is the talent assessment that uses that science. Does somebody have the talent to be successful? It's reliable, predictable. You have recruiters and hiring managers that come and say, okay, this is it. But there's also gut instinct that goes with that, right? talent alone is probably not enough. There's some fit issues. There's some gut instinct, which is more of the art of hiring someone. How do you balance the two? I mean, how important is fit, and do you measure that? Tell us your secrets.
Yeah. So I think it is a balance. I think leading with some data and getting specifics with people in the interviewing and selection process, having them tell their story about what makes them successful. What does success look like to them? And really it's just listening to that. What kind of stories are they sharing? How are they measuring growth? How do they want to be managed and coached and developed as well? So I think it's a good thing because they're going to learn about you. You're going to learn about them. I want it to be a win-win. I want them to choose me as much as I'm choosing them, or the role that they're looking at. That's just the right thing to do, and for an organization to be successful. Looking at what makes someone unique and different is always a key indicator too about what is needed out there. You want to make sure that your team represents your audience, your customers, the communities, and having diversity there is also really important. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's well said. And I love the way you said you want them to want to work there. You want them to want to come and work for you as much as you want them to. I mean, it has to be reciprocal, right? If it's going to work, that's when it works the best. So with that,
and I was going to say too, and making sure that you have different people on your team asking the questions during the process and having input from others on the team, even in different departments, to see how well that fit comes in. They might catch something that you don't. This isn't just a one person's decision about who's joining this team. We are a team. Some people use the word family. But I think it's important to get insights from others as you're gathering information.
Yeah, you've always been a big believer, and I've seen you do it in the panel interview, which I love. I think that should just be standard operating procedure, is that you're going to do a panel interview. Not everyone likes those. Not everyone. I think it takes a little bit of a time commitment, but I think when you do them, and you guys do, I think it really helps to see the whole person. Mm-hmm. So there's a statistic out that I read recently. It said 77% of adults evaluate a company's culture before they apply for a job. Have you found that company culture is helping or is impacting recruitment, and how?
Yes, I think company culture is important. I also think that is a word that people have to see and feel to really understand it, because it's kind of fluff anymore. Oh, we have a great culture. What does that mean? How can you show me? What do your people say? I connect them with people. You don't take my word for it. Talk to this person. Sometimes even clients too. We do things differently. We dig deep with our people and with the businesses that we help. So I would love to share and have other people speak on our behalf.
Yeah, I think it's really important. All right. This is a question I kind of opened up when we started talking about this whole thing. Everyone wants to know, and I don't know if there is a go-to category. If I knew the go-to category, I would share it. So I'm asking just as much for me. What are you seeing as some of the go-to categories where you tend to find talent from these days? Mm-hmm.
I think the media industry has expanded tremendously, not just into what we're doing on a day-to-day basis with radio, TV, and cable and digital and all the different areas there too, but also brands are expanding. They're trying to figure this out as well. Who can help us in our marketing and sales within the brand? So going out and looking at specific job descriptions. Everybody's posting their job descriptions. There are tons of websites where you can go out and see who's looking. What does this look like? So what is the actual functions of what someone's going to be doing day to day? Looking at who all has applied there. Can you see that? Where are they looking from? What businesses are they going to? Direct sales, of course. Remote sales, that's something that is also a category that we're looking at too. But back to what we said earlier, I mean, everyone on the team, whenever I speak about the management team, where we're intentional about where we're looking, our eyes and ears are open to even go to the untraditional spots too. Again, some people will bring us people that we've worked with closely. But going out and finding talent's everywhere. So the direct sales has been one piece too, but also just online, LinkedIn, Sunday nights. I know people are just scrolling through looking at who's out there.
Yeah, and I like that idea of looking at job postings or looking at job titles at other companies and seeing what the job functions of that job title is to determine if that person, although it might not be the title of salesperson or whatever, it could be a different title. Different industries use different titles, but by looking at the function, job function, you really get a good sense. All right, this is the tell-all part of the interview. What are some recruiting or selection mistakes that you've made over the years? Got any more to share?
Yeah, some would be probably, not listening to my gut. We all get there.
Sure.
We want to see it, know that this person has, oh wow, we just hit it off so well, and they were impressive in this interview, but something just spoke to us. And probably not listening to that gut. Also, probably not following some talent assessment, guidelines and tips and tools of it too, which is something that I love about those talent feedback calls that CSS provides, because you get back to getting more input from more people. That's something that's really, really helpful, that has overcome some of that. Like, hey, I think this, I feel this, I sense that this might be a challenge down the road. You're going to get your answer. So that's something that's been helpful.
I'll share, some things that I've heard people say as well. To me, you got to get both things right. So I've heard people say, oh, well, the talent assessment looked great, and they showed up late for the interview, and they didn't send any sort of follow-up, but the talent assessment said they were great, so we hired them, and they didn't work out. I should have trusted my gut a little bit more on that. But then conversely, you get the other ones where it's like, well, I love this person. They went to the same college as I went to. They came in all organized, and they looked the part. They had the note. They were taking the notes during the meeting, and they did all the things that you would expect a salesperson to do. And you look at their talent assessment, and they have no talent, and you bring them on. I should have paid attention. So the biggest aha from that I've gathered over the years is, don't settle, right? Don't settle. Like, hold out until you find someone that has both the talent and the experience and the fit that you're looking for, because those are the ones that go on. When you get both working right, you're going to hit. I mean, those are the ones that you hit. All right, last question. When it comes to overall recruitment and selection, and I've heard you talk about this off camera, so you can decide how you want to say this on camera to the millions and millions of people watching, not live, but of course later. How important how important is it that you get recruitment and selection correct to success? What's the correlation there? You get recruitment and selection correct. How important is that to success?
It is the key to success. I mean, this is a human to human business, and relationships matter. They matter more today than ever before. So getting that right and investing and putting equity into the talent that you're hiring right now will pay off down the road. Again, not just for the current position, role, job that this person is in today. You get to help shape their career. You get to help shape what is next for them. That's growth. That's fulfillment. That's reward. When you empower someone to do this today and knowing what the future could look like, we need to have more of those types of conversations. It's hard to do it if you don't select the right person up front. It's hard to do it if you're not focusing on top talent for every single role. People will surprise you too. People will come out and say, you know what? I thought this was my track. I actually want to go work over in this department or that. Fantastic. So being able to find the right person and not settling will pay off for the entire organization down the road.
Jaleigh, I could not have said it better. Thank you so much for being our guest. I mean, you are a true example of what, when somebody is doing recruitment and selection correct, you can get the organization that you get. You are mindful of talent and fit, and it shows in your management team and your sales team, and it's why you've had the career and the success that you've had. And I am super honored and proud to not only have you as a client of ours, which is always important, but also as a friend. And so I appreciate that sincerely. All right. Thank you, Jaleigh. Coming up next week, you're going to want to join us. So you should like, subscribe, and share our YouTube. I'm getting good at that, right? Like, subscribe, and share. Next week, Stephanie Downs, one of the partners here at CSS, is going to be the guest. And we are going to talk about the individual focus meeting, the IFM, the one-on-one, the 1-2-1, whatever you want to call it. It's the individual focus meeting. We're going to spend some time unpacking that, telling you guys some of the best practices that we've seen at that very, very important weekly meeting or bi-weekly meeting that occurs. You'll want to make sure that you join us next week for that. Thanks for joining us today. Jaleigh, have a great rest of your day. See you guys later.